Alright, I'm going to try to get these exhaust manifold bolts off right here and just kind of do a video on the easiest way to get them off without trying to break them off. Usually you can use a little propane torch like that right there and you can heat these bolts up, and no matter how rusted and oxidized over these bolts are, usually they'll come out without snapping them. Somebody's already been in here and snapped a couple of them. This is just that little spare motor that I got sitting out here. I've already got one of them out, freely turning without having to heat it up or anything. So that gives me a little bit of good hope. So it's just coming out by hand now. Whole bolt came out. You can see them things are rusted good in there, and I'm touching it, so you know it's not hot or anything. I ain't been heating them up or anything. Probably need to clean that out. I'll clean that out in a minute. I'm gonna try to get these out too. Let's see if I can get it first try. Usually you can put a little torque on them. Some of them will or will not come out. So I'm gonna see if I can try to get this one without having to heat it up and come back to it. Not even a minute later, I've already got it out. And it's spinning. Usually your typical exhaust manifold bolt size will be like a 10mm. This may have been a early Gen 3 motor, so it's got the big 13s in them. I'm not sure when they started that, but my truck's got 10mm bolts. So I'll get that one out, and hopefully the rest of these will come out without, you know, snapping. Somebody's already tried to be in here with an impact or something. Usually, best case scenario, if you haven't took these off and let's just say a couple months, you usually just want to use a ratchet. Nothing big like a breaker bar or anything, because you will most likely snap them off. And luckily, those are just snapped off at the head right there. So I'll be able, once I get these off, to just get a little nut or something and thread it on, and you know, maybe jam both of them together and back it out. If it'll do that, or worst possible way, you can get a welder and you can put you a nut on this flange right here and put your nozzle right there and shoot a bead just directly into the nut and let it cool off and stuff like that, let it harden up. And 9 times out of 10 you will get it out that way. But if you have to take more drastic measures, maybe, you know, drilling a easy out or a tap or something, a drill bit, and you can do it like that too. But I'm gonna go ahead and get the rest of these out since they're coming out pretty good, and if I have to heat it up, I'll come back to that. All of them's out but them two right there. Let's see, ain't hardly no threads or anything. Well, there might be. Got one nut snugged on top of the other. I'm just spinning it with a wrench right now, and so far it's coming out without having to put any heat on it. Stud's coming out right there. That's another way to do it right there. Might come off. All right.
You shocked her.
She got outside the boundary. I forgot. You gotta stay in the front yard with her.
That's what it looks like outside the motor. Now all I have to do is take that nut off and take the other one off. I've got the same thing going on the other side. Just 2 nuts jammed up. Barely enough thread. Alright, let's see if I can take it off. Try to get it this time. Go on that bottom nut. Just ease back on it. It's kind of hard to do with one hand, but it looks like it's coming out and getting loose. Try to get the full swing on it this time. Either I'm just really lucky or they weren't in there that good, because they actually still had threads and everything. I'm gonna get the rest of this off. Come back. Alright, sorry for all the other jump cuts in this video. I had a lot going on at the moment. I had some family come over. But the exhaust manifold's off. I'm going to be getting a cherry picker or something to pick this up. I'm going to do the other side, but until then, I'm going to go ahead and pull this head off and see what this looks like. This motor actually sat for a while. It's pretty dirty. It sat for a while at my dad's house. It had a tarp over it, which is, I think there's some pieces of it. There's another piece right there. It kind of flaked up and got sun dried and dry rotted out. Luckily I got a good light because it is getting dark, but I'm going to go ahead and pull this head off and see what it looks like, and I'll come back. I'm trying to do this with a phone, and trying to do that and use tools is kind of hard, so I'm going to come back and do that and maybe just get a good look and see what's under this head and see what all I need to do from there. If I need to go ahead and hone the cylinders out, probably yes, because it did get a little bit of rain in it. Because it did not have an intake on it, which I'm almost sure there's probably a little bit of rust and stuff, maybe nothing too bad. So we'll see what's going on with that. I'll try to make this as short as I can, that way I can save some space on my phone until I can get something with a little more space. Most of these videos will kind of be choppy and need edited and stuff like that to where it'll make a full video. But I'll go ahead and do that. I got myself an Impact that I've used for a while. A little Bauer 3/8 I got from Harbor Freight for like 69 bucks. And it's done all the work to my truck and just about every other motor or vehicle in general. And it's done pretty good. It's held its own. Only having about 380 foot-pounds of breakaway torque. So not too bad, but I'm going to go ahead and take this off and see what it looks like up underneath it. I figured while I was taking this head off that I kind of explained how these come off for anybody that hasn't taken them off and that needs to take theirs off. Here's how you do that. You got all these big bolts right here. These are going to be 15 mils. And you might actually need a breaker bar for them, or you can use a ratchet if it's easier. If you got it on a stand, it's probably easier to use a ratchet, but if you still got the motor in the vehicle, which I have done before, pulled the heads off in the truck, it's probably going to be easier for you to get a breaker bar and maybe an extension to do that. But note that you can snap them bolts. It is possible. I won't say it's easy, but it can be done. You got all them on your outside, then you got these on the inside right here, if you can see them down in there. It's kind of dark. I'm trying to hurry up and try to wrap this up. I'm going to go ahead and pull the head off You got all them in there. And then you got these down here, these little tins, if you can see them down there. That's what their notches are for in the heads. So you can fit a ratchet down in there to get them bolts off. There's going to be them right there. It is not necessary to take the valley cover off. Whenever you do that, do not take the valley cover off, or you'll probably have to get a gasket for it. They somewhat hold up. You will also have to take this steam port off, that line that runs to both of these heads. You'll have to take that off, which I'm probably about to do here in a minute before I forget about it. You can see what I did. I skipped a step and I got my 15 mil wedged up under there under the rocker tray. You'll have to take all these rockers out. You can leave them in the tray with the bolts. Just loosen them up and take the whole tray out as one assembly. And just lay it to the side. Make sure you do not get these dirty. And if you can, keep all rockers in the same tray that they came out of. I'm not sure how much it matters, but it will probably help, because on these valves, they're touching these valves and they have their own wear pattern on every single one of these, so it is probably best that you keep them on the same tray. These are a 5/16 your rocker tray bolts, and to get to this you will have to take your valve cover off, which I've already done and set it aside. The bolts on your valve cover is a 5/16 as well. Make sure you do not take your valve cover gasket out of your valve cover, because they do stretch, and you'll have to go buy some new ones. I usually, if the seal's not bad, if the gasket ain't bad, I usually don't take it out. I clean it up just a little bit. Make sure to clean that groove out that the gasket sits in it. You can just see that they grooved it for that rubber seal. I'm gonna go ahead and take all these off and take this head off. I just figured that I'd put that little disclaimer in there for anybody having to take these heads off and wants to see, you know, how to do it. That might save you some searching, even though it's pretty easy just to find it. I might do something about putting it back together, maybe with the other heads on this motor, which is what I plan to do. These have the 706 cast, so they're a little bit better than the 862s, if I'm not wrong. The only difference between this motor and the other motor is this is a 5.3 and the other is a 4.8. Very minor differences, other than just like the flat top pistons and the 4.8, and the these have the dishes. These have dish pistons or dome pistons, whatever you want to call them. And the crank, I think, is also different, but same block, same everything else. Everything from this motor can go into my truck. Even the 4.8, the flat tops can go in a 5.3 if you're wanting higher compression. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and take this head off and come back. Maybe it's not too dark. I'm trying to hurry up. This light's decent. It could be brighter. I'm probably gonna get some more lights out here. I am up under my little lean-to out here, so it's pretty dark. But I'll go ahead and take that off and I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. So I've got the head pulled off after some persuasion and stuff. Getting it off, usually they're sealed on there pretty good with them torque heel bolts, kind of mating the surfaces together to get that best seal that it can. So you're gonna have to kind of persuade it with a rubber mallet or something to come off. Definitely what I expected to see. I can already see some gunk build up. Let's see what we got here. Cylinder wall looks pretty good. Definitely some debris, and there's still some coolant and water in that cylinder. This is the one that's looking the ugliest. You can see it's got some debris and some gunk in it. Let me see if I can set my light down here, find out what this is. Okay, so that's just crap from the seal. So, not the best, but it's not looking too bad. I can clean all this off. Well, pretty good. Or I'll say, we should have a pretty good motor. Just feeling the cylinder wall. It's definitely gonna need honed. It's got some imperfections and stuff. I don't have anything to turn this. Well, I may be able to turn it over. I'm not really sure, but I don't want anything splashing out of it right now. So, yeah, definitely not what or exactly what I expected, but not really what I wanted. Knowing that it had some rain get in it, I'm gonna take these push rods out and put them in some Ziplocs, label them which cylinder they go on to, and I'm gonna try to keep them together too if I don't order some new push rods and trays. Probably just go ahead and do a rebuild. Get some lifters, some trays, push rods, maybe keep the original valve springs. Not really sure, it just depends on how good them heads clean up. They didn't look too bad. Show them again. The heads themselves are not looking that bad, honestly. Pretty clean, fairly clean for, you know, what it is. I'm actually really surprised throughout this whole process I didn't have to use the torch for the exhaust bolts. They came right out. And pieces of bolt, there's one of them right there that was broke. I'm surprised it came out fairly easy, so I'll go ahead and throw a tarp over that or something just to cover it up for right now until I can get the whole motor picked up and kind of spun around. That way I can start getting everything off to check it out. I'm definitely going to check the bottom end out and see how that's doing. Seeing all that right there kind of makes me think we got some water and stuff in the oil pan too from the rain, because I think that dipstick was out of it too. I'm not sure. The oil pan should be completely sealed off. A lot of oil did come out and it didn't look watery, so maybe that's just me overthinking. I'm not really sure, but it's probably going to be it for this. It's getting pretty late, so I'm going to try to wrap this up. Like you can see right here, I'll just show that real quick. These heads may not be good. I really don't know if that'll be able to be cleaned out. If I take my springs and valves out and maybe send them to a shop, get them checked over and worked over, get them to clean it all up. Maybe them heads will be good, but I'm definitely probably going to be throwing them 243s on this motor. So far, yeah, to my knowledge, this is salvageable. I've seen people put together a lot worse, so yeah, we're going to end it on that and throw a tarp over it.